Welcome to the Nameless.
The cabins were left exactly how they were. Beds half made, shoes lined up by the doors, a deck of cards still spread out on the table in cabin 3, like someone had been in the middle of shuffling and just stopped. I remember standing there with the camp director beside me, both of us quiet, listening to the wind move through the trees, neither of us saying what we were thinking. That 3 kids didn't just wander off and forget to come back. That whatever happened to them happened fast and close and without leaving a mess. I was 22 that summer, home from college and broke, so I took a job as a junior counselor at a small private camp in northern Pennsylvania. It wasn't one of those big, polished camps with zip lines and archery ranges. This place was old, family-owned. 6 wooden cabins, a mess hall, a dock on a narrow lake, and miles of forest on all sides. The camp had been running since the late 70s, mostly catering to kids whose parents wanted them off their screens for a few weeks. I grew up not far from there, so I knew the area. Locals called the woods deep, even though that didn't really mean anything. It just meant you could walk for hours and never see a road. The camp owner, Mr. Halverson, liked to brag that the land had never been logged. He said it made the air cleaner. At night, it made the silence feel heavier. The first week was normal. Loud kids, campfire smoke stuck in my clothes. The lake smelled like algae and old leaves. We had 20 campers total, ages 9 to 12, split between 4 cabins. 3 senior counselors, including me, and Mr. Halverson and his wife ran things from the main lodge. The 3 kids who disappeared were all from cabin 3, Evan, Liam, and Sophie. They weren't troublemakers. Evan was quiet and liked drawing animals in a notebook. Liam talked a lot and asked weirdly specific questions about the woods. Sophie stuck close to the other girls and hated swimming in the lake because she said it felt like something brushed her legs. About a week in, little things started feeling off. Nothing dramatic, just patterns that didn't make sense. One night, I did a head count after dinner and came up 1 short. Evan was missing. I found him 5 minutes later, standing at the edge of the trees behind the cabins, staring into the woods. When I asked what he was doing, he said he thought he heard someone calling his name. His voice was flat, like he was repeating something he'd already decided was true. I told Mr. Halverson about it, and he brushed it off. "Kids hear things," he said. "Forest plays tricks on you." A few nights later, Liam asked me if people lived out there. Not hikers or hunters, people who stayed. When I told him no, he frowned and said he'd seen lights moving between the trees after curfew. I checked from the porch that night. I didn't see lights, but I did hear something. A low, steady sound, like humming, far enough away that I couldn't tell where it was coming from. The senior counselors joked about it being coyotes or wind through hollow trunks. I laughed along, but I stopped sleeping well. Every night felt like waiting for something I couldn't name. The day the kids vanished started normal. Breakfast was loud. Sophie complained about her cereal being soggy. Evan showed me a drawing of the lake with extra trees that didn't exist. Liam asked if we could go hiking farther than usual. I said no. After lunch, the campers had free time. Most stayed near the dock or played cards. I went to the supply shed to inventory flashlights. I was gone maybe 20 minutes. When I came back, cabin 3 was empty. At first, I thought they were at the bathroom or messing around somewhere they weren't supposed to be. I did another head count. Still missing. I asked the other kids. No one had seen them leave. We searched the immediate area, trails, shoreline. I called out their names until my throat hurt. Mr. Halverson joined in, his voice tight in a way I hadn't heard before. After an hour, he told his wife to call the authorities. They arrived fast. State police, search and rescue volunteers, dogs. The woods filled with noise and movement, which somehow made it worse. The dogs tracked the kids' scent to the tree line behind the cabins, and then stopped. Just stopped. Sat down like there was nowhere else to go. By nightfall, they called off the search, said they'd resume at first light. No one slept. The next morning, the cabins were still untouched. That was the thing everyone kept mentioning. If the kids had run away, they would have taken shoes, jackets, something. But everything was there. Evan's notebook on his bed, Sophie's hair ties on the nightstand, Liam's flashlight, batteries dead, lying under his pillow. That afternoon, one of the volunteers found something in the woods about half a mile from camp. Not footprints, not clothes, just a clearing where the ground was packed down in a rough circle. No fire pit, no trash. The trees around it were stripped of bark at about chest height, like something had been rubbing against them over and over. The police took photos and didn't say much. One of them told me kids sometimes make forts. I nodded, even though I knew this wasn't that. Over the next 2 days, more things surfaced, old things. A retired ranger came by and told Mr. Halverson he should have mentioned the group that used to meet out there years ago. Not officially, just people who believed in living off-pattern. That was the phrase he used. They avoided towns, paid in cash, kept to themselves. They weren't illegal, the ranger said, just unsettling. Always camping in circles, always leaving before anyone could ask questions. The search went on for a week, then 2. No trace of the kids. No notes, no sightings. Eventually, the parents were flown in, their grief heavy and quiet. I couldn't look at them for long. The camp closed early that season. I stayed one extra night to help pack up. Mr. Halverson asked me to lock up the cabins one last time. I didn't want to, but I did. In cabin 3, the air felt stale, like it had been sealed. I stood there, listening. I thought I heard that humming again, faint but steady, coming from somewhere beyond the walls. I told myself it was the wind. On Evan's bed, his notebook was open. I didn't remember opening it. The last page showed a drawing of 3 figures standing at the edge of the woods. Behind them, a ring of trees bent inward, their tops touching. Underneath, he'd written, "They said it's easier if we don't bring anything." I closed the notebook and left it where it was. The camp never reopened. Officially, it was due to insurance issues. Unofficially, no one wanted to send their kids there again. Years passed. I graduated, moved away, tried not to think about that summer. But every now and then, I'd wake up with that low humming in my ears, like a memory my body refused to let go of. About a year ago, I drove back through the area on a whim. The road leading to the camp was blocked by a rusted gate. Beyond it, the cabins were still standing, windows dark. Nature hadn't reclaimed it the way I expected. It was like the place was waiting. I didn't go in. As I turned around, I noticed something nailed to a tree near the road. A piece of wood, weathered and cracked, with a symbol carved into it. A rough circle, crossed by 3 short lines. I'd seen it before, scratched into the bark near that clearing, drawn faintly in the dirt behind cabin 3. I drove away without stopping. The image burned into my mind. Sometimes I wonder if the kids really disappeared, or if they went somewhere together, convinced it was the right thing to do, that it was easier not to bring anything with them. What stays with me most is how quiet it all ended. No answers, no closure, just empty cabins, left exactly how they were, like whoever took them wanted us to notice that nothing else was missing.